Okay, today we're playing a game on Junkertown. We are in the Platinum SR range, and we will be playing Mercy the entire way through. We are also on the console today, by the way. Consider yourself forewarned. Current team composition is Orisa, D.Va, Pharah, Doomfist, Mercy, and Moira. No Zarya, no Zenyatta, sad as usual. The other thing is that Orisa D.Va is just kind of an awkward combo of tanks because they just don't really have much in the way of synergy with each other. Orisa would quite like to stay in one place, just sort of bolted down, and then D.Va wants to be diving in on people a lot. Two very diametrically opposed playstyles that they have, and they can't really do that much to help each other, especially since D.Va's usually going up at the same time. So, they just can't really do much to help each other. D.Va can eat ultimates for Orisa and stuff still, I guess, but, like, they don't work super well together. And it's not the worst. It's no Roadhog Zarya, certainly, but it's not great, or Roadhog D.Va, for that matter, but it's still not great. Also, D.Va, Pharah, Doomfist, very divey team. Moira has trouble keeping up with the dive comp because she's quite slow, quite short range, and is also quite slow as a hero, so she'll have trouble keeping up with these people. Pharah's also up there to add another layer to it. So, there is also a question in the email, which is, when do you use Valkyrie? Is it better to ult to initiate or to defend yourself? And the answer is, well, it depends. Sometimes you'll end up using it for both. If you have an ultimate that can be used in a proactive fashion, it is usually better to use it proactively. Like, Earth Shatter. You always want to use Earth Shatter proactively. You don't want to have to be doing it reactively, right? You know, you can use Valkyrie to initiate, and you'll end up using it to save yourself sometimes, certainly, but if you are using it to save yourself, that means something bad is happening to you, and there's the possibility it won't let you just get away like that. Like, if you suddenly like, fuck, I'm half health, so I'm gonna use Valkyrie to get away, well, you might just get killed before you can actually, like, get up into the sky, you know? So, it's better, typically, to do these things, to use an ultimate proactively, if you can. But, you'll end up using it to save yourself sometimes, certainly, as well. But it's almost always better to use an ultimate proactively than reactively, if you can do so with your ultimate. Like Zenyatta, you don't use Transcendence proactively. It's not that kind of ultimate, right? But you can use Valkyrie, like, right before a fight starts to try and get your team to actually go forward, which, you know, is an issue Mercy has in general, that she doesn't have many ways to really get her team moving if they are playing like bitches, basically. Using Valkyrie can sort of prompt them to move forward, so. So, basically, it's usually going to be better to use it to initiate, but you will end up using it to save yourself sometimes as well. But it's almost always better to just never be in the position where you, like, if you're using it to save yourself, you're in a bad spot. It's usually better to try and avoid being in a bad spot to begin with, if at all possible. So anyway, let's start the game. So we have to attack Junkertown first, and you might have noticed the timeline on the video. We've got a long game here. It's a good thing we're playing Mercy, so it won't take as long as it would for a lot of heroes to get through it. So we've heard a Sombra out and about. There's Sombra over there, harassing Orisa. We've got a Pharah, which is nice. This isn't a great Pharah map, really, because there's just not a lot of geometry for her to use, really. These houses are very low, you can kind of peek over the top of them, but eventually it's just kind of big open space. She can't even really, like, the street phase isn't even really that good for her, because there aren't as many rooftops to use, really, as there would be on, like, the street phase on, like, Hollywood, conversely, right? And then the third checkpoint, quite confined, actually, so it tends to not be a great Pharah map, really. So we have shot way, way into danger. Good heavens, we've gone like 50 meters in front of the rest of our team. You gotta cancel that, GA. You do not want to go that far into danger. Just, like, cancel it. Because, oh my goodness, we just jump over the entire enemy team. If there's someone like a McCree there, just waiting, and you just, oh, hey, you're dead. So, we do want to be damage boosting Pharah as much as possible, because that's kind of the whole point of picking Mercy. Pharah, presently, we'd like to save her, we certainly would, but she's flown down so close to the enemy team right there. we can move forward and try to tether to her from the safety of, like, behind the barrier and with our team, but I'm pretty sure she was just out of range, and we certainly don't want to GA over to that, because we'd be right in front of the entire enemy team. She didn't even have the decency to die close enough to the payload to actually be able to res her from behind the shield. How inconsiderate of people. Doomfist is now also trying to get himself killed, but he's quite a mobile boy, so he manages to get out of danger. So, I get that we're trying to avoid standing in coalescence right now, but we are exposing ourselves greatly to the enemy team. There's even a Bridget standing right here. So this is scary. Like, we've just separated ourselves entirely from our team, right? We can GA over to them, certainly, but, like, if somebody jumps on us and we have to GA across the coalescence to get back to safety, that's pretty scary. So don't track, like, this way. We're going away from safety. Like, we just want to go, like, back, like, over. Nope, that's the eraser. That's not the drag. We just want to go, like, back this way, you know? We can hug the wall and avoid Moira. Going back this way, there's all this open space right here, right next to the enemy team. And there's a baguette over there. She comes over and stuns us, you know? We die. Fortunately, no one noticed. She's actually just running forward into the rest of our team. So fortunately, no one noticed, but that's a very dangerous way to path. This time, Farah has died in a more convenient location. Thankfully. So, this is a very, like, what are we doing? So, we don't need to be this close in general. We just sort of slingshotted ourselves past this person and pulled the pistol. Like, it's such a decisive movement. We just slingshot past these people and pulled the pistol out. Like, it's certainly a bold move, I don't doubt that, but Jesus Christ, calm down. So, I would have just used Valkyrie as soon as we get it right here, basically. We got 5 people alive. Still, Doomfist died, but, like, their Reinhardt has segregated himself from his entire team, basically. We should be able to kill him from over there. And, like, we can just go up into the sky, completely avoid all of this danger we end up in, and heal/damage boost the entire team. We end up not needing to do so, as we can see, but Mercy builds her ultimate really quickly. Like, and it's just... It's one of those things as well, where it's an ultimate that you want as many people on your team to benefit from it as possible as well. All support ultimates are this way, with the exception of Zenyatta, because again, his is a reactive ultimate, so you use his fundamentally differently. But all support ultimates are kind of this way, other than Zenyatta, where you want as many people on your team to benefit from it as possible. Even Orisa is this way, because she has a support ultimate. You want as many people to benefit from your ultimate as possible, so you really want to use it as early in the fight as possible, because that's when the most people on your team are going to be alive. More people are going to have their ultimates closer to the start of the fight. You want them to be able to damage boost them while they're using all their ultimates, all that stuff as well. So you really, you want to use your ults as early in the fight as possible when you're playing a support. Zenyatta's using his for different reasons still. His has the asterisk on it of being a reactive ultimate. But all other support ultimates. Like, Moira almost always ults before a fight starts, because that's just when you can hit, like, 5 people on your team and 6 people on the enemy team with Coalescence, ideally, right? You just that's how you get the most value out of the ultimate possible. So, we would love to res her, but she's just barely died out of line of sight. It's not the end of the world. The spawn's right back there, so she'll be back soon enough anyway. So we do still have Valkyrie to use as soon as a fight actually starts. McCree is up there on the right-hand side. Because they have McCree, that does affect how we have to position with Valkyrie. Basically, we should just, if we're using Valkyrie, we should just assume McCree has Deadeye. Because if he does, he's going to use it to try and kill us. Now, instead, we just fucking go in on him. Which, fair enough, but it's a difficult one to kill McCree because he can just, flashbang roll away. He also can kill you if you get right up on top of him anyway, because if he stuns you, you are a lot easier to flashbang. Or if he flashbangs you, rather, you're a lot easier to kill at that point. He fucks this one up really badly, though. You don't want to get, like, right up on top of the McCree, because then he flashbangs you, and then it's easy to kill you, because then it's just tap, tap, dead. the regen won't even save you through that one. So, but if you're using Valkyrie, just typically best to, or if they've got a Soldier or a McCree, it's just best to assume they have their ultimates, because if they see you go in the sky, they will be like, ult the Moth. So, fortunately, the way the game is right now, most teams are like Hanzo Doomfist, so, fantastic, neither of them has an ultimate that can hit Valkyrie, right? Fucking hate Doomfist. Fucking hate Hanzo as well. If we could just get both those heroes removed from the game, that'd be great. Don't even take them off of the hero select screen. Leave them on there, but just put a big red X over their faces to let them think about what they've done over in the timeout corner. So, anyway, I'm not salty, you're salty. So, Farah's used Barrage over there. As soon as like Farah starts using Barrage, we would like to start boosting her as quickly as possible. Where is Farah? She's right there. Were we tethered to her? Oh, we were tethered to her to begin with. Okay, disregard. I thought we were tethered to Orisa. We were tethered to Farah. Disregard what I was saying. Anyway, so she went and died over there. She's already killed most of the enemy team, though, at this point, so that's great. So we'd also like to not be standing on the payload, if at all possible. Let's talk about this. So, imagine, right, that most of our team is sitting on the payload instead of just scattering to the four winds as they are right now. You don't really want to be standing on the payload as Mercy, if at all possible. The idea is to really just sit, behind the payload and put your team between you and the enemy team. If you're playing a support in general, typically you want as many people between you and the enemy team as possible. So ideally we don't stand on the payload. I always see this with Bastion comms as well on Junkertown, where the Bastion will be on the payload, and then Mercy will be sat right next to the Bastion on the payload. Which is just, that's exactly where the danger is. If you've got the Bastion on the payload, and then presumably, you got the full, pirate ship set up on, and maybe even the rectangle in front of him. God, I wish it was actually that tall. The idea would more to be just stand, far back behind the payload, because you, with Mercy, have a 15-meter range on your tether. So you can actually be standing quite far behind the payload and still be tethered to Bastion, or whoever else is on the payload. And then they've got to go past your entire team to get to you, and if you've got a Bastion on the payload, they can't do that, because they can't just sprint past Bastion to try and get the Mercy, who sat 15 meters behind the payload, right? So, ideally, you don't even ever have to actually stand on it, you can just kind of sit behind it, away from the enemy team. Sometimes that's not a great idea, if they've got a Sombra who's constantly hanging out behind you, then you can end up getting hacked and separated from your team. True enough. But if they've got a more standard team composition, then ideally you can just sort of sit really far back behind the payload, tethered to whoever is actually on the payload, and just sort of keep 5 people between you and the enemy team. Because it's very hard to just run past 5 people, usually. If they got a flanker, they'll have less trouble doing it, but if you're pushing the payload, it's less likely for the defending team to have flankers. It happens, certainly. You can play a flanker on defense, but it is more common to see flankers on the attacking team than the defending team. Anyway, so, the email also mentioned something about positioning, so I'm trying to actually remember to talk about that as the game goes on, as I usually completely forget to talk about that. And that's the biggest skill on Mercy, is positioning. So again, we're standing really far forward right now. We're even standing on the front side of Orisa's shield. As we just covered, we'd like to be behind our team as much as possible, at least standing behind the barrier. The beam is 15 meters long. That's quite long, actually. Zarya is behind us right now, so we end up backing away from her. Most of their team is dead at this point, so we're not exactly moving backwards into danger. But if slightly more people on their team were alive, it would be dangerous to go that way. If it's just Zarya behind you at low charge, it's going to be better to just, like, stay by the Zarya rather than advance backwards into the enemy team, because the Zarya with no charge, who gives a fuck, right? If it's just, like, the choice of a low charge Zarya and moving towards their spawn, the low charge Zarya is usually the lesser of two evils. So we won that round, as you might have inferred from the fact this is a fucking 30-minute long video. Which equates to it being, like, probably, like, a 24-minute long game, because there's a few breaks, because it doesn't count, we don't count the, like, between round time, so it's, yeah, that'd be, like, 24 minutes, taking out all the breaks, I think, because you'd end up with 6 breaks, correct? I don't know, whatever, who gives a shit? It doesn't matter that much. It's a long-ass game, is the moral of the story. It's quite rare to see a game on Junkertown go multiple rounds, unless, like, both of the pirate ships went really, really well. So our team is standing in really weird positions. Like, standing on this bridge is not exactly a recommended position, kind of because of stuff like that happening, so... I mean, we do have to come and, like, stand with our team. What was he doing in there? How did he end up in this room? I guess he was just waiting to try and, like, gank somebody. Weird. Is there another way into that room? Other than that door? There might be one behind it. I don't really go on that side of the map very often. Yeah, so if your team's doing dumb shit, you do have to go and stand with them, especially as, like, Mercy, but, like, our team was, like, mad far up. You don't go stand on the fucking suspension bridge over there. So this is just, like... This is a scary res to go for. Don't go for that one. They've got all the tempo in the world right now. Going for that res... Like, we actually could have seen this dude coming even, looking at it from this perspective, because he saw us, like, way in advance of us coming to do this. Did we see him? Was he, like, in our peripheral vision at all? And I just missed him, perhaps? I saw, like, his toe for a second, which isn't, like, super reasonable to ask someone to see. Yeah, like, they've got all the tempo in the world right now. I'm pretty sure all 6 of them are still alive when we go for this res. So, that's a scary one to go for. Don't go for something like that. We'd love to res her, certainly, but we are going, like, way advanced the rest of our team, while they're still pushing in with the majority of their team, if nothing else, so that's a scary one to go for. Res is almost up. We're just, again, like, really close. I know we want to res the Orisa, but we don't need to come stand up here while we're waiting for the cooldown. Like, this would hit us regardless, it looks like, but we don't need to come this far up still. Like, we can sit further back, and, like, Orisa's got, like, quite a long time on her res timer. Just in general as well, it doesn't really look like the res is going to really pay off, because the fight's not exactly going well by this point anyway. And, if resing someone doesn't look like it's going to have a significant impact on your chances of winning the fight, you should not go for the res, because if you res someone and you lose the fight regardless, you just end up feeding them more ult charge, and you can end up staggering them. Like, Mercy players always are like, oh, I'm gonna die, so I'm just gonna try and res somebody and see what happens. If the res by some miracle does go off, you've probably just destined that person to die again. But people do it all the time. So attack visor's happening right now, so Pharah was fucking dead, basically. Fortunately, he chose to shoot her instead of us. We can't really res her because of where she died. Where did D.Va die? Where did D.Va die? Where was D.Va when this happened? Oh, she's all the way back there. Now, who killed her? Reaper. So Reaper's behind us right now. I was just trying to figure out where she was. Yeah, so there's Reaper right now. And, oh, he's spinning on us right there. We actually might have been able to res the D.Va. But we do have to, like... We want to try and keep these people alive. The alive people are more important than trying to res the dead person. But, oh god, then we like... That's just an unfortunate situation where we have to jump off to avoid dying to Death Blossom. And it turns out, like, Reinhardt is right below us. So we could go back up again, provided we have the right setting on. We could just float a little bit down, wait for him to finish spinning, and then GA back up to him if we have the GA prefers beam target turned on. Which I assume you can have turned on the console still, right? You must be able to. Surely that isn't removed on the console. I've never actually played it on the console, but surely you must. And then we could GA back up again after he's finished spinning. And certainly true, this would put us back next to a Reaper, but up on high ground, there's a Reaper up there, there's a Reinhardt down here. The Reinhardt has a higher chance of killing you than the Reaper does, because the Reinhardt, he doesn't have to aim. Reaper does at least have to aim. And Orisa was up there, who we could use as a shield still, because she, I don't think, ended up dying to him spinning. I wasn't paying super close enough attention to know if she died or not at that point, because I was thinking about other things. I'm a very easily distracted individual. I don't know if you've noticed. So don't be healing people who are at full health, because you healing somebody at full health is the same as having your beam turned off entirely. Be damage boosting this lady. There's no point to be healing, especially since she's using Coalescence. That heals Moira as well. Healing somebody at full health is the same as just having your beam turned off. Just be damage boosting instead. You can actually use that to block line of sight, correct? You can use May's... I'm pretty sure you can use May's Ice Cube to block line of sight. I'm not 100% certain on that one. We can probably find that out, can't we? Because it probably says, like, on the wiki if it blocks line of sight. May, Overwatch. That's not how you spell Overwatch. Google will take care of it. Good job, Google. Does May's Ice block line of sights? It probably says. That's Blizzard. That's not what I'm looking for. Cryo Freeze. Doesn't say. Jesus Christ. God damn it. Oh. Unless it says down here. Yes, it does count as line. It does block line of sight. May acts as an obstacle during Cryo Freeze, which can prevent some abilities from going through her to affect her allies, such as Earth Shatter, Roadhog Hook, Diva Self-Destruct. Yes. So, granted, we didn't know she was doing that. I mean, we didn't know we had a May by that point, but we would have had to have reacted quite quickly to get behind her. But yes, May's Cryo Freeze can block line of sight. The more you know, if nothing else. So if you can't get to cover, just, like, huddle behind your May. Like, she's probably going to use Cryo Freeze if you can't get to cover. Just imagine, like, Reinhardt crouch behind May. Like, please block for me. Or Roadhog, for that matter. Any of the big people. Which is the biggest tank that can crouch? Because, like, Diva can't crouch. It's probably Hammond, right? Can Hammond crouch? Can Hammond actually crouch? He can't, right? Because I know Crouch does Pile Driver. Can Hammond crouch while he's in his mech? Does the wiki tell us that? Oh, we're getting good and off topic today, aren't we? Hammond, Overwatch. Can he crouch? Can Hammond crouch, though? This might be hard to find out. Control F, crouch. Doesn't say anything about it. God damn it. We may never know. Alright, anyway. Doesn't fucking matter if the hamster can crouch, does it? Really. So, May got killed, good and dead over there. Can't really res her because Reinhardt was kind of right next to her. Unfortunately, we do have Valkyrie, and I would just use Valkyrie now, because this is the last team fight that we are, like, well, ideally this is not the last team fight we have, but this could potentially be the last team fight you have, so you just use your ultimate and hope for the best. So Reaper span on them, and we're trying to keep Tracer alive right now. We should try and res one of these people while Valkyrie is active, because we are so much more likely to die once Valkyrie has ended than if we try and res them now. So once they start, like, coming back like so to try and kill Tracer, this is like our time to swoop in over here and try to res one of these people. It's probably better to try and res Moira than Orisa, because Moira, like, if we res Orisa, she's just gonna get chewed to death by Reaper again, like, almost immediately. Moira can juke around a little bit more than Orisa can, so Moira probably has greater longevity than Orisa does in this situation. And, like, we're a lot more likely to die trying to res somebody after Valkyrie ends. Now, we end up instead just, like, tethered to Tracer the entire time, and Tracer actually ends up putting in a lot of work, surprisingly enough. At, damage boost, damage boost. Roadhog starts dying, so that's fair enough, but, like, damage boost somebody. Surprisingly, nobody needed healing for a brief period in there. So, miraculously enough, we've actually ended up, holding on to the checkpoint. Hooray. Not that it is the end of the world if they capture it, because we still have time on our side anyway. Well, it wouldn't matter if we had time or not, because if you finish in overtime, and they finish with more than a minute left on a map with a checkpoint on it, like a hybrid map or a 2CP map, one team actually doesn't get the extension there, but on a pure payload map, both teams always get the extension, so it doesn't really matter if we end with time or not. But, the important thing is we ended, basically. So, but then suddenly a lot of people start dying very quickly around us, and we try to res somebody. Didn't work out. Yeah, they throw a lot of ults in right there. Widow died to self-destruct. Orisa got earth-shattered. There's not a lot you can do about that one as Mercy. This is the unfortunate thing about Mercy. This is why I try to avoid playing her as much as possible. Is there are quite a lot of situations you can be in as Mercy where there is just nothing you can do. Because Mercy, her only way of interacting with the game, really, is through healing and damage boosting her teammates, right? She doesn't directly interact with the game herself very much. She interacts with the game by interacting with her teammates. So you're sort of beholden to your teammates having at least some degree of competency. Tragically. This is why I try to avoid playing Mercy. So there are quite a few situations you can just end up in as Mercy where there's just nothing you can do, because your teammates all shit the bed at the same time, basically. Tragically enough. So, I've gotten distracted. Why are we in this weird position? So we follow Junkrat right here. I would not do so, because D.Va's right there. D.Va is gonna immediately start jumping on us afterwards. And maybe we don't want Junkrat to die, fair enough. We want to die even less. And if D.Va has a choice between Mercy and Junkrat, she's gonna go for Mercy before she goes for Junkrat. And you can't rely on that Junkrat to try and help you. You can't depend on any dirty DPS players to actually protect you. Or any dirty tank players, for that matter. Or any dirty support players, for that matter. So, really, just like, as soon as you see the D.Va right there, I'm like, nope, I'm going to the other door now to go with the rest of the team. Because I don't trust Junkrat, basically. So now they're way too far up. As we can see, D.Va's here on the checkpoint, or on the payload, right at the fucking start of the track. Which is not recommended at all. So we come over here to res this person. We turn away from the person who was over there, which makes it harder for us to get headshot, which is good. But we also could have just ducked into that room first, and then started resing Tracer. And then we're just not even in that person's line of sight to begin with, which even further reduces our chances of dying. I guess there could be somebody waiting in the room, but most of the enemy team was dead by that point, so it seems quite unlikely, and we can just, look. And then if there is, well, just don't do it instead. So now, we got some tempo going. We don't have a lot of time left. We're about to start entering the phase where we can't stop touching the payload. But fortunately, they're doing a lot of staggering themselves right now, and we've got our whole team here still. So we still want to be as far back from the payload itself as at all possible, and then we immediately slingshot ourselves forward into the enemy team. I assume we did that by accident, because that's a weird time to pull out the pistol. So there goes D.Va up there, immediately blocking line of sight. It's okay, she actually came back into line of sight, which is a rare thing indeed. So there's an argument for just using Valkyrie right here, but it doesn't look like we really need to do so, seeing as they've been staggering themselves, basically. If they, you know, just had some self-restraint and actually waited for their team to group up before coming out to touch the payload, they'd have better luck. But this is how it always goes on payload maps, is that the defending team goes, it's overtime, we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go now, we gotta get them off the payload, and then single file line right into the enemy team, which usually has a bastion on it. Oh god, why are we dying? Why are we dying constantly? Come on, boys, the fucking DPS are not killing anything. Yeah, because we're just marching single file into the enemy team. You know, just like being in the trenches. Over the top, boys. Let's go. Single file into the grinder. So why do we use Valkyrie right now? I guess there was a Reaper right there, so we probably were afraid of dying to him. But he's not actually looking at us, surprisingly enough. I'm guessing this was prompted by Reaper. We didn't really need to use Valkyrie right there. Like, we didn't seem like we were being threatened by much of anything at all. We damage boosting these boys. Nobody needed healing right there. And like, with Valkyrie, you want to be on the damage boost as much as possible because you're damage boosting potentially 5 people, which is really strong. Right, like, it's very strong. Mercy isn't picked for her healing. Out of all of the main healers, she has the lowest potential healing. Especially since they just nerfed her, right? Her healing is the same as a Harmony Orb now, isn't it? No, that can't possibly be right. Here we go again to the Google. All right. Mercy. Stats. Because I thought the Harmony Orb was 50 per second, and Mercy is 50 per second, but I might be a crazy person. Mercy is 50 health per second. Okay, so I was right about that. Is Zenyatta? That's not how you spell Zenyatta. It'll know. Yeah, is Zenyatta 50 health per second? Shows you how much I play Zenyatta, I suppose. No, he's 30 health per second. Whoa, I'm a crazy person. Holy shit. Shows you how much I play Zenyatta. I'm probably getting confused with the Discord Orb, because the Discord Orb used to be 50 damage increase, right? Whatever. Who gives a shit? I know so many numbers, as you can see. Either way, Mercy still has the lowest healing output of all of the main healers, right? You want to talk highest potential healing output, Moira's fucking head and shoulders above everybody else. The reason you pick Mercy is because of the utility of Res and the damage boost, and also Valkyrie, suddenly tethering to all people, is really strong. But mostly because of the damage boost. Like, you want to use that as much as possible as Mercy. And I mean, that's the same with, like, all supports. You want to be increasing your team's damage as much as is physically possible. So, like, if you're playing Lucio, you want to be in speed boost as much as possible, right? Like, if you're Zenyatta, you want to have your Harmony Orb, your Discord Orb on people as much as possible. If you're playing like Moira and Anna, you want to be doing as much damage to the enemy team as possible. And like, Mercy already has so few ways of interacting with the game that the best you can do is just be damage boosting people as efficiently as possible. It's kind of all Mercy can really do, other than, you know, be healing people as much as possible as well. Which is somewhat the point of a support, I'll give you that one. But damage boost as much as possible. That's quite a common question as well, is like, if I'm tethered to a Pharah that's using Barrage, do I use the healing beam to try and keep her alive, or the damage beam to try and make her kill them quicker? And the answer is you want to use the damage beam, unless you think the Pharah is going to die, in which case then you use the healing beam. Anyway, but whatever. Man, I'm all over the place today. I don't know what I'm talking about. Why y'all still listening to me? A second ago I was like, is Mercy's healing the same as Zenyatta's? It feels like it's that low sometimes, to be fair, especially after they nerfed it. It feels like it's a Harmony Orb, you know? Anyway. So, we're using Valkyrie right now. They can't touch us. Hooray. the last death that we had out by the front door. The only way you really prevent that is just by kind of looking around as much as possible. Damage boost. That boy's full health. Stop. Damage boost that boy. You're healing people at full health. Don't be doing that. I was going to say something. Yeah, the only way you prevent that one is by, like, looking around more frequently, basically. Mercy doesn't need to be looking at the person she's tethered to, so you can just be looking around as much as possible. It's harder to look around on a controller, I'll give you that, because it's just harder to turn around physically, but still, you don't need to be looking at the person you're tethered to, so you can be looking around quite proactively as Mercy, and that's... Mercy's got very few ways to defend herself. If somebody jumps on you unexpectedly, they can kill you before you can react. So knowing they're coming is a big deal. And this is a... I've only just noticed that... Is overtime in French seriously prolongations? That sounds like such a made-up word. Prolongations. Prolongations, rather. I'm just looking at that. I'm also like, damn, it practically touches both of the scores. It's that long. It just sounds like such a made-up word. Prolongations. Wow. So yeah, this is a textbook Junkertown game where we were in overtime on the first checkpoint, and yet, hey, we've gotten all the way through to the end of the track. Crazy. Look at that. Video games. So now, over to the defending round, they've got a lot more time than we did, and we got it all the way to the end, so there's that. But, please don't pick Symmetra on this map. Maybe for the second checkpoint, but like, Symmetra's not very good on this checkpoint. Oh, we got Torbjorn too, sick. Sick. Look at that team comp. Look at this team, we're gonna do great. So they got more time than us, which is... You know, we got it all the way to the end, so logically, they have a good chance of getting it to the end as well. But the Overwatch community is far from logical, my friends, you see. Oh, hold on. Oh, no, I finished this train of thought first, or I'll never get back to it. Seeing as we only had a minute, but we got it all the way to the end of the track, they are super tilted off of that one. They're like, they only had a minute and they got it to the end of the track. Now, oh, GG, fucking scrub teams, shit like that. I gotta tell you, like, about the most ridiculous human being I've ever seen in Overwatch. And I've seen a lot of stupid people in this video game, right? So I was playing with, like, 3 of my friends at the time. And one of my friends was playing Reinhardt. A little bit of context. We had just played with a guy, and we won the game. We played with him on our team, and he got play of the game in that game as well, right? But we just won a game with this guy, right? Second game comes around. Hollywood were defending, and my friend is playing Reinhardt. They have a diva on their team, and they throw the self-destruct in. My friend is holding the shield up to block it as it falls through the sky, and mere nanoseconds before it just barely crosses through the shield, and then explodes, and it kills him and the Hanzo who was stood behind the shield. Just barely got through the shield. Like, literally, it got behind it by, like, 0.1 seconds. And the Hanzo, without hesitation, immediately accuses Reinhardt of throwing. Why'd you take the shield down, Reinhardt? You definitely didn't take the shield down. What'd you take the shield down for, Reinhardt? Why are you throwing? And then, no hesitation at all, in all chat, report the trio for throwing. We just won a game with this guy, but he died once to the self-destruct because it just barely got through the shield. And immediately he's like, report the trio for throwing. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Why did Reinhardt take the shield down? He didn't, you fucking dumbass. Did you not see it physically touch Reinhardt? No, he took it down. Why are you throwing? We literally just won a game with you. But now we're throwing. Or are you just salty you died once? And then we won the game, easily. Like, it wasn't even close. That was the first defense that happened. They got it partway through the third checkpoint, didn't get it to the end. We turn onto the attack round and just push straight through to the end in like 2-3 minutes. Like, wasn't even close. But then there's justice to the story, right? Because we won, so that's great, right? So the guys immediately looks like a dumbass because he was like, report the trio for throwing, and then we won the game quite easily, actually. But then, next game, Horizon Lunar Colony, he's on the enemy team this time. Ho ho ho. And they didn't even capture the first tick on the first checkpoint, and then we did capture the first tick on the first checkpoint. And before we could even say anything to him, because rest assured, we were like, focus that guy, right? Before we could even say anything to him, because I was ready to talk mad shit after the game ended, right? Instantly left the game, just immediately ejected from the game. Like, nope, they're gonna talk shit. And he was right. I was primed to talk the most shit I've ever talked in my life. He was easily the and it went on and on and on during that game. Like, he was salty about that one death the entire game. And it was easy. Like, it wasn't even close that we lost the game. But it wasn't even close that he won the game afterwards. Oh, he's easily the most ridiculous person I've ever seen. Just won a game with him. Dies once to self-destruct. Instant tilt. Instant. Fucking immediately. Report them. Just won a game with you, but now we're throwing. A game later, we're playing the long con on this guy, apparently. Give him 25 SR to immediately take it away from him right afterwards. Ha ha! True villainy right there. Hold on, someone sent me someone has pinged me on Discord. Give me one moment, in case it's some manner of urgent message going on over here. No, it wasn't. Of course not. I should have expected as much, but the one time you don't check, it's like, I'm gonna die. Actually, in 5 seconds, you know. I'm not being dramatic or anything like that. Shut up. Oh, anyway. The Overwatch community is so fucking stupid. I love it. I hate it, actually. But, oh, I actually the most ridiculous person I've ever seen in my life. In Overwatch, anyway. And I've seen a lot of shit. Is it dispute? Is it prolongations? Dispute! Contesting. Disputing. I mean, fair enough. It just seems... It had like 3 umlauts on it, you know, whatever. Or accents, not umlauts, those are German. Wow, that didn't hit us? Holy shit. That's incredible. Actually, like an inch in front of our face that didn't hit. Anyway, I've been so distracted. So, anyway, what's going on? We're very far forward again right now. Might want to try and rest that person. We were very far forward right there. And then... Like, our team comp is really bad, so I'm not exactly surprised they're pushing him. And then, oh no, we've ended up dying. By this point, I wouldn't use Valkyrie, because I'm expecting to lose this fight. Because, Tracer already died over there, 2 people have been earth-shattered in front of us, D.Va might die, Symmetra's probably not long for this world. So... 2 people are going to be down in this fight already, and, like, it's not looking good by that point. I would just hold on to the Valkyrie, because, I'm just like, me using Valkyrie is probably going to still result in us losing this fight, so I'd rather just save Valkyrie to use for the next team fight instead. Rather than use it here on the team fight, we'll probably still lose regardless. So, Zarya, like, oh... Fortunately, she's only being killed by Moira, so... Like, if, like, even one more person is coming after that Zarya, that would be dangerous. That would be a very dangerous one to try and go and heal. Fortunately, they just weren't really doing very much. Did Sombra really hack Zarya rather than us? Maybe she meant to get us. Like, give her the benefit of the doubt. It's like, hacking Zarya isn't super impactful unless you think she has her ultimate, because both of her abilities are very long cooldown. Anyway, regardless, so Self-Destruct didn't accomplish very much because they have a Reinhardt. Their team comp in general is a lot better than our team comp is. Because our team comp was fucking terrible. So we can just stay up here. We don't need to GA away. Then we end up, like, in front of Roadhog, so, you know. But, like, we can just hang out on the staircase, because we're high up, we're, you know, high ground, even slight high ground is still high ground. But then we end up tracking down in towards the Roadhog and end up having to GA away from him. And we might have to do that regardless, but, like, moving back down the stairs again, you're just putting yourself, like, on same ground as them. You can at least, like, crouch behind the staircase and try to use it as cover. Like, it might not sound like a huge advantage, but even a slight high ground advantage is still a high ground advantage, you know? It's better than nothing. It's better than nothing. So regardless, we're still losing that fight. Like unless that self-destruct was going to kill like 3 people, we were still going to lose that team fight regardless. We didn't have anything to win the team fight with, basically. Now we have Graviton, which is great. However, Orissa's just died. Oh no. And Tracer's not looking like she's super long for this world, but we managed to actually just about get her away. That was Symmetra we were healing. That's Tracer behind us. Symmetra's dead now. So, oh, she used the wall, but then Sombra's like, nah, fuck that. Sombra's ult just did 5,000 damage. Yeah, rezzing could have rezzed Symmetra, but like, I wouldn't res her hoping she changes her hero. If I'm to be perfectly honest with you, there's definitely no point to use GA right now. We've got 2 tanks with us right now. That's it. There's nothing to use GA for, or Valkyrie for right now. We've only got 2 tanks here. Like Zarya also wasted her ultimate, which is very sad, because, again, it's just us and Orisa. So she ended up wasting her ultimate right there. That's the worst thing, is that, like, whenever it's, like, this kind of overtime situation and I see Zarya's got her ultimate, I'm like, she's gonna throw it at them while there's only, like, 2 of us here, isn't she? And they almost always do. But there's no point using Valkyrie there. Like, we're only gonna be tethered to a Zarya and an Orisa, and the Zarya's got no charge. Not worth it. It'd be better to use now. Like, if we had Valkyrie right now, this would be a better time to use it. But, like, yeah, even this wouldn't be great. But it would be better than the time we did use it in, basically. We're hacked right now, so we're very, very sad. Health kit isn't even there, yeah. It will be back soon. Like, it's back now, so we could back up onto the health kit sooner than this, because when we saw it... Nope, slightly further back still, goddamn. When we see it here, it's 3/4 of the way back, so it's back, like, now. So we could back up onto that health kit sooner, and maybe survive. But, you know, getting shot by Roadhog, not unimaginable. That still kills us after we pick it up anyway, because he could just shoot us again. But, hey, some chance is better than no chance of surviving, you know? So that person's still playing Symmetra, even though that's definitely still the wrong choice. But what can you do? So we're in the prolongations phase right now. And they've still got to get it all the way to the end of the checkpoint. Wouldn't it be sad if she just immediately emped that a second time? Wouldn't that be sad? We'll res her this time, fair enough. But then, like, 2 more people die over there. And then, oh no, she's just going to end up staggered. And now, oh no. Like, resing her, I think, there was fair enough, but unfortunately, then, like, a couple more people die immediately afterwards, so then, you know, she just ends up dying again, so all that actually happened was we staggered her, but I think it was fair enough at the time to go for the res. I might have still just not done it hoping she changes off of Symmetra, if I'm to be honest with you. Anyway, so, things aren't looking super great right now, as, you know, everybody's dying, Hanzo's hard to get to right now. Wouldn't have GA'd to him, because we can tether to that boy from over here. He's close enough now. See, we tethered to him before we even GA across, and then we have to cut across the entire enemy team to make that happen. So, Baguette. No, that's Reaper. That's not Baguette. I don't know why I thought that was Baguette. Reaper's hardy enough that I'd try and res Hanzo. There's also only Moira here right next to us right now, so she won't kill us before we get the res off. And, like, we just kind of need as many people out here as we possibly can, really. Actually ends up being fine. We actually managed to build up Valkyrie, so we'll at least be contesting it for that period of time. But then The wolves come across and they walk off the checkpoint. Hooray! Or the payload, not the checkpoint. Hooray! We won the game. It only took 5,000 years. God, it's a 51-minute recording right there. It'd be slightly shorter once I cut it down, but I mean, it was a 30-minute video. It's not exactly shocking. Look at that. That's a textbook Reinhardt play of the game right there. Nice. 11 minutes and 18 seconds of objective time. I'm trying to think of the last time I ever saw someone get, like, actually double-digit objective time. I can't even remember the last time I saw someone go over 10 minutes. That's insane. It was a very fucking long game. So I'm assuming victims sur objectif is objective kills. Yeah, because 61 eliminations. 40 objective kills is a fucking lot of objective kills, actually. Like, objective kills are usually pretty low, but I mean, it was a fucking 30-minute game. And yet, even after only a 30-minute game, didn't even do 25k damage. I'd expect that to be a lot higher than that, really, but also, this boy, gold 5 stars, look at that, ooh. Anyway, I can't think of a recurring issue because this was a fucking 30-minute game of Mercy, and it all starts to blur together, and I got distracted so many times. What a video it's been. Does Mercy heal as much as a Harmony orb during this video? And, like, you know, it feels like it sometimes. It certainly feels like it. Sometimes I'm sitting there playing Bridget, having a perfectly good time, and then I look over at the Mercy, and I'm just like, man, she just can't heal shit, can she? Damn. They only lowered it by, like, 10, and look at her. Jesus Christ. Isn't it amazing what a difference 10 just lowering something by 1 can make? It's alright, Mercy's always been, like, one of... Bang the table, I'm sorry. Mercy's always been, like, one of the best and most popular heroes in the game. So, you know, suck it, Mercy. You got to be, like, undisputably the best hero in the game for, like, a 6-month period. So, right after that rework, ooh, good times. One day, maybe they'll nerf Hanzo enough times for him to stop being one of the best heroes in the game. The best hero in the game. Maybe one day they'll nerf him enough so that he stops being the best hero in the game. We could only dream. But though, like, maybe I should slow down, because once Hanzo's not the best hero in the game, Doomfist probably becomes the best hero in the game, because he's fucking everywhere right now. The last thing I need is him to be even more everywhere. Playing against, like, a Hanzo Doomfist team every other game, or every game, is very fucking tiring. You know... Punched up in the air, oh look at that, now I'm just floating in the air in front of this giant black man, and now he's gonna fist me, hooray! Oh, there was so much counterplay involved in that one. Oh look, I came around a corner and got shot by an arrow. Oh, fucking just a giant, came around a corner and a tree just smacked me in the fucking face. That's cool. I'm not salty, you're salty. Thank you very much for watching if you did. If you felt I answered your question from the email inadequately, please let me know. I'll try to expand further. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer. If you haven't already, you can join our Discord and ask questions more directly and have a conversation about them or just shitpost with us, and I hope you found the video helpful. Probably not, though, but at least entertaining. Good job, team.